Hello, hello everyone. It's Teresa with Critters Crochet. Let me get some light on this and see if this helps a little bit. There, that's better. This is Teresa with Critters Crochet, and I'm coming today to give you a tutorial on this clutch bag that I designed from the slip stitch rib. And for the tutorial, well, for this I used the Mainstays sparkle yarn. Now when I went back to my Walmart to get this, they were sold out, and so I had to substitute this silver with the sparkle, and it's just a little bit darker than this one. But you do not have to use a sparkle yarn. You can use any worsted weight yarn that you'd like, and a 5.5 millimeter hook of your choice. And so we're going to get started. I'm going to make my sample a little bit smaller. Like I said, the slip stitch rib, you can use any, there's no multiple to this. You can use any count that you want on your chain to get the size of bag that you'd like to have. So this is large for demonstration purposes. I'm going to get this out of the way, and I am going to do something a little smaller. Now for the size, I should tell you this. For this size that I have here, which is, and I didn't bring my measuring tape with me, this is an 11 by 11 inches long, and it's 6 inches tall. So if you don't want your bag that long, that big, you just do your chains up to the desired amount. This bag took 45 chains, okay? So I'm going to come back and we're going to get started. Make sure you have your hook, your 5.5 millimeter hook, and worsted weight yarn of your choice, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm going to zoom in here where you guys can see me, and I've gone ahead and did my chain. Now I've just done a chain of 30 for this demonstration. It will work for any size that you want to make it. So after you have done your chain, then you're going to go to the second chain from the hook, and you're going to single crochet across. So not this one. This is your first one. This is one, and this is two. So we're going into that second chain. And I like to go through and make sure there's 2 loops at the top just to make it a little bit more clean. So 1, and we're just going to single crochet all the way down our chain. Okay, so you guys know how to single crochet. I'm not going to stay on here and do this. So meet me at the end of your chain after you've got all your single crochets done along your chain. All right, I have my row of single crochets done for row 1. So for row 2, we are going to turn our work. We're not going to do a chain. We're just going to turn our work, and we're going to go into this first stitch. Let me get my thread across here. Here, that's better, so you can see. We're going to go into our first stitch, and you need to do this loosely because in the next row we're going to single crochet, and if your slip stitches are too tight, you're not going to get your hook through. You're going to be struggling. So really loosen up on your stitches, and we're just going to slip stitch, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, bring that loop up from the second one. That's a slip stitch. We are going to slip stitch, go into your stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and take that loop through this stitch, through that loop. So I want you to slip stitch all the way down this row, and I'll meet you at the end. Remember to go loosely. All right, guys, I'm back. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. I have finished row 2 with the slip stitches. So what we're going to do for row 3 is we are going to chain 1. Whoops, sorry. We're going to chain 1 and turn our work. All right. So to be able to, let me get a needle here because I want you to see this. To have the ribbed look, we want these V's that were made from the slip stitch that was created by the slip stitch, these V's need to pop out. So instead of going into the stitch like we normally do, like this under 2 stitches, we're going to ignore this V and we're going to go behind it, and we're going to go through this loop and the loop in the back. Okay, do you see that? You have your, let me get this out of the way so you can see it better. You have the V that was created from the slip stitch, right? We are not going to use these. We are going to go we're going to turn this, and if you look, you'll see a stitch here, and then you'll see another stitch below it, okay? We're going to go in those 2 stitches, and we're going to ignore, well, I went to the wrong spot, but we're going to ignore this V right here. We're going to go above that V. We're going to go into this stitch and the stitch below into this V. So you see the 2 V's? There's a V stitch, there's a V here, and if you turn it over, there's another V on the back. We're going to go through that back V, all right, to make our single crochets. All right, so we did our chain 1. We're going to go right here into that back V and make sure we get both of them, and we're going to do our single crochet. And we're going to do this all along this row. So go above that, put your hook in, and go through the V on the back. Here's the V on the back. And if you want to, you can turn your work like this to see it and see this V right here. And that may make it easier for you to see and to crochet into. And this is why you needed to make your stitches in that slip stitch loose, because these little suckers are hard to get into if you're tight. Okay, so go through those. Whoop, I caught an extra thread there. There you go. Go through the V, make your single crochet, and you see how that brings those V's up to stick out. So we're going to go through 2 stitches, the 2 stitches on the back, and make your single crochet. And we're going to do this all the way down your work. Once you start doing this, it kind of gets you in, you get into a little bit of a rhythm, and you can pretty much just fly right through this. So single crochet behind in that back V all the way down, and I'll meet you at the end of row 3. Okay, we're back, and I finished row 3, and you can see how going behind that V with your slip stitch from your slip stitch row in row 2 to going behind that with your single crochet really raises those V's up. It's so pretty. So this is your repeat, guys. Your next row, you're just going to turn your work, and what you need to remember, now we're doing slip stitches. So you do a row of slip stitch, then a row of singles, then a row of slip stitches, then a row of single crochet. On your slip stitch row, you do not chain. You only chain 1 when you're doing your single crochet rows. So remember, slip stitch loosely, very loosely, and sometimes I will just go and take a deep breath and relax my arms. If you start feeling yourself tensing up, just take a deep breath and relax, and that will help you to loosen up on your slip stitch row, okay? So we're doing that all the way down to slip stitch. Let me just go ahead and finish this up and finish up this slip stitch row for you. And we want to be loose, remember, be loose, be loose, be loose. If you have to take a deep breath to relax your arms, do that. Because I know I have a tendency to tense up if I get going in a rhythm. I sometimes will tense up a little bit. So we want to finish our slip stitches on this row. This is 2. Remember, you're repeating rows 2 and 3, the slip stitch row, then the single crochet row, until you get the width of your bag that you want. So we're at the end, we've done our last slip stitch, we're going to turn our work, and we're going to chain 1 because we're doing the single crochet. And then remember, you go behind your V, and go through the V on the back and make your single crochets. All right, so I will be back after I've done a few rows of these. Your job is to work on your singles and your slip stitches until you get your bag to the width. Let me bring this out. You're going to work on this portion until you get your bag to the width that you want, and I'll meet you back when I get finished with all of my single slip stitch and single rows. All right, everyone, I am back, and once again, I am doing a smaller version of this just so that the video is not forever on showing you this. But this is what's so neat about this pattern, is that you can adapt it to whatever size you want. So I finished, and when you do this, you want to be sure that you finish on a let me move this up just a little. You want to be sure that you finish on row 3, which is a single crochet row, and that'll help finish that off. And then place a stitch marker at the end of your last row. That way, when we because we're getting ready to start on making the flap, and we're going to start the flap, and we need to do some decreases to make that flap. And so we need to know, after we get the flap on, how far up to fold the bottom part to seam it up for the edging. Okay, so even though mine is small, yours may be a different size. That is perfectly okay, because it's going to be worked the same way no matter what size you make it. So grab your project, your hook and your yarn, and let's get started making the flap. Okay guys, for the flap, we're going to start out with slip stitches. Since we finished on a single crochet, our flap is going to start out, and we're going to do slip, then single, slip, then single, just like we did for the body of the bag. And so what we can do is, now I made this to where you can fold up and seam the sides, but if you would like to make a panel that's identical to this first part, just the body without the flap, you can do that, and then sew the two sides together and just make your flap on one piece. But this is how I designed it to do it. We're going to, so either way is fine. So what we're going to do is turn our work. Now remember that single or slip stitch row does not get a chain. So to begin the decrease, we are going to put 2 slip stitches together. And the way we're going to do that is we go in just like we're going to do our first slip stitch, but instead of pulling through, you wait and go into the next stitch, pull up a loop. You'll have 3 on your loop on your hook, and then just pull through all 3, and that brings 2 slip stitches together. And then we are going to slip stitch all the way down till we get to the last 2 stitches. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and I'll be right back when I get to the last 2 stitches. All right guys, I am to the end of my row. I have 2, let me zoom this in a little. I have 2 stitches left, 1, 2. So we're going to do just like at the beginning. We are going to put 2 slip stitches together. So pull through, do not finish your stitch. Go into the last stitch, yarn over and pull through. It's kind of hard working around that stitch marker, but you can do it. And then pull through all 3 loops just like we did. That brings those 2 in. Okay, now we're going to chain 1 and turn our work, and we're starting on our stitch, like the 3rd row of the single crochets. So we did our chain 1, and we're going to decrease again. So that means we are going to put 2 single crochets together. And the way to do that is you go in like you're doing a single, do not finish the stitch, go into your next stitch. Remember, you're going into that V on the back, yarn over and pull through, and 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3. And then we're going to continue down this row and put a single crochet into each stitch until you get to the last 2 stitches. So I will work my singles across here until I get to the last 2 stitches, and I'll meet back up with you. Alright guys, I've done my single crochet row down to the last 2 stitches, so we're going to single crochet 2 together. So that means we will go back here, whoop, there we go. I was in the wrong stitch. I'm sorry, I'm off camera here. Let me get in here. 1 and 2, and then bring them together. All right, so now we've done this across. We're going to turn, and now we're going to do our slip stitch, and we're going to do 2 together because we're still decreasing. So 1, 2, and pull through those stitches. Okay, then we're going to slip stitch all the way across till we get to the last 2. And I will meet you at the end of this row when we have 2 stitches left. All right, I am at the end of this row. I have 2 stitches left, so we're going to slip stitch these 2 together and pull right through. There we go. So now we're ready again for our single crochet row. Once again, we're going to chain 1 and turn. We're going to do 2 single crochets together. Oh, come on, get in there. There we go. 2 single crochets together, and then single crochet all the way down till we get to the last 2 stitches once again. See if I can just quickly do this. All right, I'm going to continue this all the way down, and remember, when you get to your last 2 stitches, you're going to single crochet those last 2 stitches together, and I'll be right back. All right, we are back. I finished that 3rd row again, and what I like to do is before I'm going to turn the work and before I do my slip stitch row, I like to just bring this up. As you do these rows, I want you to bring this up. Bring your bottom up to the top. Let me bring this back out a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. I want to bring this is our 3rd row right here, and I want to bring this up and lay it out, and then periodically after you do something, you want to bring your flap down to see if it's long enough for your project. So I still need to do a couple more rows, I think. So we've turned our work, and I am going to do we're doing our slip stitches. So we're going to, once again, first 2 stitches, we're going to slip stitch together. And I think on that first row, I told you wrong on the slip stitch together. So let me show you that again so that you can do it correctly. You go in like you're going to do a slip stitch. Do not finish it. Go into the next stitch like you're going to do a slip stitch, and take this loop and pull it through 2. I believe I said 3 the last time, so it's just going to be through 2. And then you want to continue your slip stitches going down until you have 2 stitches remaining. I can't tell you how many rows this takes because your bag may be a different size than my bag, and so you won't have the same you won't have the same amount of rows that I do if your bag is made in a different size. So it's just really a fun pattern that you can really customize to your liking. So we're down to the last 2 stitches, so I'm going to slip stitch these 2 together. There we go. Chain 1 and turn, and we're going to do another row of single crochet. So we're going to do our, whoop, I about went through the wrong stitch. Here we go. 1, 2, and pull through all 3 to stitch those together, and then finish your single crochets across the top, across this row, until you get to your last 2 stitches. So I'm going to continue this until I get my flap the size that I want. Just remember to bring your project up and pull your flap over and measure it to be sure that you're getting the right length of your flap that you want, and make sure you end on a single crochet row. So when I'll be back when I finish this flap, just remember you're increasing on each row as you go up. All right, and I will be right back as soon as I finish this flap. All right, guys, I measured my flap. Make sure that the wrong side is facing you when you do this, and bring the bottom of your bag up to the top of that last row before we started this flap, and fold that over and make sure that it is where you want it. All right, mine is sitting just where I want it. So what I'm going to do next is I need to create a space for the button to go through. So I have 6 stitches left. So these 2 stitches right here are my 2 stitches in the middle. So what I want to, and that's leaving 2 on this end and 2 on this end. So what I want to do is to create that hole for the button, I want to do 1, 2 slip stitches, then I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to skip these next 2 stitches, and then I'm going to slip stitch in the last 2. And that is going to give me a space to put my button, okay? So once you've done that, then you're going to turn your work, and we are going to chain 1, and I want you to make, we're going to do a single crochet all around the outside of our bag just to make it look nice and neat, and it gives us also a base to when we crochet and or slip stitch our sides together to close our bag. So what you're going to do is you're going to single crochet in that first stitch and the second stitch, or however many stitches you have, until you get to this chain that you created for your button. And then you want to just go into that chain space. If you did just 2 chains, you're going to single 2. If you did 4 chains, you're going to single 4 into that space. It just makes it look neater, okay? And then I'm going to single in the last 2. Now this is a corner, so I'm going to put an extra single in there so that I can turn the corner and it just looks better. And when you're doing your single crochets around the outside of your bag, just pick a spot. It's okay. It's not really going to matter if where you go in. Just evenly space these single crochets. But you want to single crochet with the right side of your fabric facing, so that the detail around the outside on the front of your bag matches and looks nice and neat. You don't want it looking like that on the front of your bag. You want this to show the front right side. So remember, single crochet along all the edges. When you get to a corner, put 2 singles in each corner to make the transition, and I will meet you when I've gotten all the way around and back to this spot, okay? Okay guys, I have gone all the way around my project with the single crochet, and I'm back up to the top of my flap where I started, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to slip stitch into the top of that first single, okay? And we want to fasten off. Let me get my little nippers here. We want to fasten that off and just pull it tight, okay? So now what we want to do is, I will weave those ends in later, but what we want to do is go ahead and fold up our flap, and what I like to do is take my stitch markers and go ahead and go into the corner stitch and then into the corner of the top before my flap, and put a stitch marker there, and do the same on the other side. And I do not know if I have another stitch marker. I'll reach over here in my bag, sorry about that, and find myself another stitch marker. Here we go. And go over to this corner, and then to the side, and hold that together so that when I go to sew up these sides, it's going to be even and I'm not going to get into the wrong row and make it lopsided. So what I'm going to do now, you can join your sides any way you want to. You can do you can come over with your needle and thread and just do a whip stitch, or you can do a single crochet and turn it right side out, which, let me show that to you. Let me take these off. If you're going to do a single crochet, I suggest that you turn this over where the right side is and fold it with the right sides together. And I'll show you, because that's how I'm going to do it. Okay, let me get my stitch markers back in place. Get in there. That one's not wanting to cooperate with me. Yeah. All right. So you have your wrong sides together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to single crochet, because it's faster for me. I like to do that. If you just want to whip stitch yours together, then that's fine. You can do that. But what you want to do is I want to start here on this. I'm going to start on the right hand side. And I have a slip stitch on my hook, and I'm going to do a standing single just to get started. And what that is you put your hook in the first stitch, okay, and then in the second stitch, all right, and then you're just going to go through, pull through, and complete it like a single. All right, that's a standing. And then I'm going to line up my edges. And I'm just going to go through, make sure you're going through the V's on both sides, and I'm just going to single crochet all the way down this side to close it off. Okay, going through both thicknesses. You could even do, instead of a single, you could even do a slip stitch to close this. There's so many options to closing this off. So I always like to go back into that bottom corner and just do one final single, and then I'm going to fasten off. Pull that through, and then I will weave that in, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So as soon as I finish this side, I'll be right back to show you the rest. All right, guys, I'm back. I have seamed up both sides. So now I'm going to take my bag and I'm going to turn it right side out. Just get your finger in there and poke out those corners. There we go. And I will worry about these ends later. Just want to show you guys. Here we go. Now, your next step is you are going to take your flap and fold it down. And you are going to, here's how I locate the spot for my button. This is what I do, is I put my flap where I want it, okay? And I take my needle and I put it where the buttonhole is, and I just go through and I put it through on the bag, and then where my needle is, that's where I know to place my button. That's just a little trick I do to get my button in the right place. So there we go. You can steam your bag a little bit if you want to get it to lay it flatter. But so right here's where we're going to sew on our button. So I'm going to sew my button on, And then when I come back, I will show you how to do the strap. All right, guys, I have my button added to my bag. So now we are going to work on the strap. So I'm going to move this up. And there are two different ways to do this. You can open your bag up like this. This is your side seam. You can go ahead and start on the right side of your seam, about 2 stitches over, and attach your yarn and go ahead and do your my bag strap is made with half double crochet, so you can go ahead and do 1, 2 and skip over that seam, 3, 4, and do your 4 half double crochets across there, and then continue to work your strap. Or the way I'm doing it is I would rather work on my strap off the bag and then attach it when I'm done, but either way is fine. So I'm choosing to do a half double crochet on my strap. If you want to, you can do the slip stitch rib for your strap, and so it can match the bag, whatever you'd like to do. But I'm choosing to do half double crochets. It's just quicker for me. So what I did is I chained 5, and you chain however many you want to get the width of your strap. Okay, so I'm chaining 5, and I'm going to go into the second chain from the hook and put a half double crochet, and then half double crochet, whoops, sorry about that, half double crochet along the rest of the chains. So that's going to give me 4, whoop, my goodness, 2, 3, 4 half double crochets. And this will be the width of my strap, okay? So then I'll chain 1, turn my work, yarn over, and do 4 more half double crochets across. And I'm just going to continue this back and forth until I get my strap to the length that I want it, okay? Chain 1, turn, half double crochets across again. So I'm going to continue working my strap this way until I get it the length that I want, and I will come right back when I'm finished with my strap and show you how to attach it to the bag. Okay, be back soon. Hello everyone, we're back, and I have finished making the strap for my bag. And so I'm going to show you how I attach. There's so many different ways that you can attach a strap to a bag, but this is the way I'm going to do it for this bag. I'm going to open this up. I got my button put on here, and so I'm going to, let's unbutton this so we can open it up. And what you want to do is you want to kind of open it this way and lay it where this side seam is facing you. And then you're going to take your strap, take one end of your strap. Let me get my yarn out of the way. Oh, sorry. My yarn out of the way here. And what we're going to do is we're going to place this strap right here. Well, let me see. Let me go this way. Like this, where this is all stretched out this way. But we're going to center it right across that strap. Or I will get my words right today, I promise. We're going to center that strap right on that center seam, okay? And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to go through both thicknesses right here, and I'm just going to single crochet, just like we did the seams. I'm just going to single crochet through 4 stitches and attach this strap to the bag. Super simple. Slip knot, snip my thread, pull that through and pull it tight, and we've got that one attached right there. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Make sure you don't twist your strap when you're doing this. Let me get my slip knot back on my hook, okay? So make sure you don't, and I'm going to weave all of these ends in later, and I'll show you something with this one here in just a second. So we're going to make sure we don't have our strap twisted, and we're going to go over here and do the same thing. All right, it's going to go this way, so it's going to go like this. Well, get my hand out of the way. It's going to go on like this, so I'm just going to lay it down like that so I can have it turn up the right direction. And we're going to go through, and we're going to single crochet this side on just like we did the other side. Get in there. Get this out of the way. There we go. And remember, make sure you're going through both thicknesses on your bag and on the strap. 3, 4. I have 4 stitches because my strap was 4 stitches wide. So yours may be a little different. Pull that. And we have our strap attached. Now, what I do, where did I put my needle? I must have put it away. Let me grab my needle real quick. Get my needle out here. All right, sorry about that. I thought I had it out. What I do when I sew my ends in on these straps is, just to really secure the strap down, I will take my needle, and right here on the edge, on that corner where it's attached, I'll go through here, and I'll go through here, and I'll just like whip stitch around that spot in the corner really well, and then I will weave it through this side till I get back over to the other side of the strap, and then I will go through, and I will do that again on the other side, and just kind of do like a whip stitch around to just secure those edges, to make sure, and then I go back through and weave it through the other direction. Boy, I had just enough, didn't I? And then we nip it, and then that's it. And that's how I weave my ends in. So, guys, there is the bag. Let me get my needle out of my mouth so you can understand me. But there is my bag, all completed. And I just really had fun creating this. And I hope you guys have fun making your bags. So I can't wait to see the bags that you create. I hope, oh, sorry about that. Let me bring this out where you can see it. I hope that you will, if you do choose to make one of these bags, I hope you will share it with me. My email's in the comments below. You can send me pictures. And if you'd like me to share your bags on my channel, I'd be happy to do that. Let me know if I can use your name. And I would love to see the bags that you create and what yarn you've chosen. So thank you so much for joining me with this in this tutorial. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And I will see you again soon. Bye, guys.